All right, let's dive into one of the most incredible stories you'll ever hear, the story of your own immune system. It's this complex, elegant, and, frankly, brutally effective alliance of cells and proteins that is working around the clock to keep you alive. So let's pull back the curtain and see how it really works.
Really think about that for a second. Right now, this very moment, there's an invisible war raging inside of you on a scale that's almost impossible to imagine. So the big question is, how on earth does your body manage to win day in and day out against this relentless onslaught of invaders? Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out.
To really appreciate the solution, you first have to understand the sheer scale of the problem. Our bodies are basically the perfect home, this warm, nutrient-rich environment that all sorts of microscopic organisms would absolutely love to move into.
And we're not just talking about one or two types of threats. The diversity of these invaders, these pathogens, is just staggering. You've got viruses, bacteria, fungi, even things like parasitic worms. There is no way a simple one-size-fits-all defense is going to work against a list of enemies this varied. Each one is a totally unique challenge. And on top of that, the battle isn't just happening in one place. The battleground is everywhere. Some invaders, like bacteria, might just be floating around in your blood. But others, like viruses, are masters of stealth. They actually break into and hide inside your very own cells. And that's a really crucial point. Fighting an enemy out in the open is one thing, but fighting an enemy that's taken one of your own cells hostage, that's a whole different ballgame.
So, how does the body even begin to handle a situation this complex? Well, it starts with the first responders. This is your innate immune system. It's ancient, it's incredibly fast, and it is always on patrol.
Now, what's so cool about this timeline is that it shows you this is literally a race against the clock. The second a pathogen gets in, it starts making copies of itself. By about day 2, the innate system is in full swing, trying its best to contain the problem. But a lot of the time, it's really just buying time. You can see right there, if the invader keeps multiplying, it hits this critical point around day 4. And that's the signal, that's the alarm bell to call for serious backup.
And that backup? That's the second, much more sophisticated part of your immune system. It's called the acquired or adaptive immune system. Think of it this way. If the innate system is the local police force rushing to the scene, this is the special forces. They're slower to get there, sure, but they are incredibly precise and unbelievably powerful.
Now, this specialized system has two main branches. You've got humoral immunity, which is the world of antibodies, and then you have cellular immunity, which is run by a totally different kind of cell, the T cell. And as it turns out, there's a very, very good reason you absolutely need both. And this takes us right back to that battleground problem, right? Remember how some invaders attack from the outside, in the open, while others hide on the inside? Well, evolution, in its brilliance, came up with two totally different solutions for these two very different problems. So this is the absolute key to understanding the whole thing. Humoral immunity, with all its antibodies, is custom built to fight extracellular pathogens. That's the stuff floating around in your body's fluids. Cellular immunity, with its T cells, is designed for the intracellular threat. It actually goes after your own cells once they've been hijacked.
Let's start with the outside job. Think of antibodies as these incredibly specific smart tags. They're just circulating through your blood and tissues, and when they spot a virus or bacterium they've been trained to recognize, they latch right on. This neutralizes the threat and basically paints a giant target on it for destruction, all before it even gets a chance to break into a cell.
But what happens if a virus is sneaky enough to slip past and get inside one of your cells? At that point, antibodies are completely useless. They're blind to what's happening inside. So this is where cellular immunity takes over. T cells are like the Secret Service. They patrol your body, checking your own cells for any sign of an internal takeover. And if they find one that's been turned into a little virus factory, they eliminate it, shutting down the infection right at the source.
So, okay, we have these two amazing, highly specialized systems. But here, and this is my favorite part, here is where the story gets truly brilliant. They don't just work side by side. They actively work together in one of the most elegant examples of teamwork in all of biology. And this quote just nails the heart of that teamwork. The antibody, right, a star player of the new, sophisticated adaptive system, evolved to do something incredible. It acts as a bridge, an adapter molecule that connects back to the ancient brute force cells of the old innate system. Cells like phagocytes, whose only job is to eat invaders.
The design of this thing is just genius. An antibody molecule has two very different ends. The top part, the Fab region, is variable. It's custom-shaped to grab onto one and only one specific microbe. But the other end, the FC region, is constant. It's like a universal handle that all of our phagocyte cells have hands for.
Okay, so let's walk through exactly how this amazing teamwork happens. First, you've got a phagocyte, one of our immune system's eater cells, and it's trying and failing to get a grip on some slippery little microbe. Then, step 2, antibodies swarm the invader, covering it completely. Now for step 3. The FC end of every single one of those antibodies is sticking out, creating dozens of perfect little handles. And finally, step 4, the phagocyte can just grab onto those handles and easily gobble up and destroy the microbe. This whole process of making an invader tastier is called opsonization, and it is the absolute peak of biological teamwork.
So, the battle is fought, the invaders are wiped out, and your body wins. But the story isn't over. Not even close, because the most powerful thing to come out of this entire fight is what it leaves behind.
So let's just do a super quick recap. You have the innate response, it's fast, but it's general. When that gets overwhelmed, the acquired response kicks in, slower but highly specific. It's got 2 arms, humoral for the outside job, cellular for the inside job. And the most brilliant part is how they synergize, with antibodies acting as that critical bridge, making the whole system way more powerful than the sum of its parts.
But here it is. This is the real game changer. After winning the war, the acquired immune system creates memory cells. It doesn't forget the face of the enemy, it remembers. It builds a file so that if that same pathogen ever dares to show up again, the response is so fast, so targeted, and so overwhelming, you probably won't even feel a thing.
And that leaves us with one last, really powerful thought. This entire beautiful system is designed to learn from experience, to remember its enemies. So, what if we could teach it to recognize a dangerous enemy before you ever had to fight it for the first time? What would that even look like? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.